Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Elevate Your Life podcast. We are diving into all things wellness today, related specifically to skincare. So, if you're like me, you might have been a late bloomer to the skincare game. I never had severe issues that required me to get into cleansers, toners, exfoliators, the whole gamut of a skincare routine until I got to a point post college where I said to myself, I want to have a skincare routine. Like I want to treat myself and start to have one and find what works for me and what doesn't. Like what type of skin do I have? I started from ground zero, literally in my mid 20s. And when Jess and I connected, it was a beautiful instant connection where I really resonated with her story. The line that she started, the ingredients she uses, the no compromise and full 100% integrity, and being able to educate women on what is best for them, how to honor yourself with self care, what are some healthy tips and habits to get yourself there consistently, and really overall in understanding what is holistic skincare because we can fall for the gimmicks on the labels all day long. And it's a lot of thinking involved. When you're reading all the ingredients, half the time I don't even know what they are and it just looks good and I know, okay, I'll try it. But just really broke it down to understanding how to make things easy and simple so that you can be consistent and start to see results. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the consistency and results. So, Jess is a phenomenal woman who began in the beauty industry well over 20 years ago and is a licensed esthetician as well. She was the national educator for Kirsten Florian International, alongside with the director of sales and education for Kate Somerville Skincare. So she's got some backing behind her in the industry. Back in 2012, just began to learn more about the ways in which harsh and unnatural ingredients applied topically to the skin that can be harmful for the bodies. She then discovered that the typical skincare products on the shelf had questionable ingredients, while the more natural products that were available left her unimpressed. She utilized her knowledge and the vast expertise in the health and beauty industry to begin crafting her own natural products with one goal in mind: modern beauty and pure results. I can't wait for you to dive into this episode and learn more about holistic skincare just as much as I did. Jessica, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too. So I love that you are in the beauty and skincare space. That is such an industry that all of us women tap into, but yet we don't know all the nuances and the do's and don'ts. I mean, we know about like holistic skincare, but we don't know about holistic skincare, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I know. And even as someone who I've been in the skincare industry for 20 something years at this point, and even I had to like relearn when it came to the more holistic and natural space, because that's not something even people who are in that profession know and are taught. So it's something that is so important too.
Mm. So, can you start us off by just a brief introduction and what really got you looking in the skincare industry?
I well, way back when I was going to college, I was going for psychology. And I worked in a psychiatrist's office and I was like, I don't know about this. I'm very sensitive and I'm very I'm just empathetic. And so I was like, this is heavy. And I ended up working also in the cosmetic industry in the retail centers. And I found beauty and I was like, oh, this is so much fun. I just like fell in love with it. And I graduated college, but then I pivoted and I went and got my esthetician license. So I originally was like, I don't know what I want to do. I knew I wanted to educate because I was very inspired by a trainer I had, but I didn't expect to fall in love with like the aesthetics and working on clients. And so I did that for a long time and I just loved it. I loved treating the skin. I loved helping people feel good. And then I also worked as a trainer and an educator for multiple skincare brands, which was amazing. I got to teach people in mostly like 4 and 5 star resorts how to perform facials, ingredient technology. I traveled all over the US. I think I went to like 30 something states.
Wow.
Um, so I definitely traveled quite a bit and it's just something that I was so passionate about.
Yeah. I love that. And, you know, when it comes to skincare, there's obviously so many different products and many places to go and get facials, right? Um, what are some of the things you see that would be like a good place for a woman to get started in skincare? Because I know for me, I wasn't really into skincare growing up, and it wasn't until I was in after college actually that I started making it a priority in my life. So, what would you say for women that don't have a current skincare routine or just a way to get started?
A lot of my clients currently, I do have my own brand now, and a lot of the clients that come to me are like, I'm 40. I've never had to do anything with my skin and I need to start because I'm starting to notice the fine lines and the wrinkles and the dryness. It's catching up with me. Then there's another type of client who's like, since they were 16, they had chronic skin condition. So they are going to have reached out and looked into getting their skin taken care of like at a different age. So we're all on different journeys, but a lot of my clients, I would say they need to start if they're not doing much, if anything, simple. And there's a lot of beauty online. There's a lot of information and it can be very confusing because just like anything, like just like diet and exercise, one person has a philosophy and then another person says the opposite of that. So it gets confusing. And I think especially as someone who goes from like not doing anything to wanting to take some action steps, don't go and start 17 steps skincare routine. Start simple. Start with, well, one of the things I recommend is start with what you need the most. So if your concerns are, you know what, I'm super dry. Let's start there. What are products that are going to help you with that skin concern the fastest, like directly? And then we can add from there. But, a lot of my clients, I'm just like encouraging them, make sure you're washing your face. Like some, even at the end of the day, they're just so tired, they don't even want to do that. So don't
Mm.
overwhelm people with like too many things and just target what your main concerns are and then kind of go from there.
Oh my gosh, I'm guilty already. Yeah, I'm guilty. I'll just take my makeup off and then put my lotions on without washing in between. That's bad. Not all the time. I won't call myself out all the time, but sometimes.
No, it's normal. It's normal. I have, a lot of my clients say the same thing. And I think even if you don't wash your face, say you're a very basic skincare user and you're just not you don't care about it very much, but you want to make some changes. I would say make sure you're doing it at the end of the day. You want to get rid of the dirt, the debris, the makeup. You don't want to sleep with your makeup. So if you're going to wash your face once a day, make it at night. And I even give another tip for this for, beginners is don't wait until 9 p.m. when you're exhausted and you're like, who cares? I'm just going to bed. Do it as soon as you can. Like at the end of the day, if it's like 6 o'clock and I'm not going anywhere else, I just go and do my skincare. Like, why not? I don't need to wait until I'm just about to go to bed. And that actually helps your skin penetrate the product a little bit more before you like go to sleep. So there's no downside to doing that. And it just helps like get that time in to make sure you don't leave it and you forget.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a really good tip, which I know we're going to share a bit more later in the conversation. But I want to peel back because I know you mentioned you have your own brand and
Mhm.
that is Simply Jess Skincare. And so I love to know like the inspiration behind the brand and then, going into the holistic aspect of skincare and its importance.
Yeah, so I was in, working with pretty just normal skincare brands and then I became a mom things change when we become moms, right? And my son had like really bad eczema. He was a baby and he had this terrible eczema, and we just could not figure out what was going on. And so come to find out, he had a gluten allergy. So his skin was inflamed and breaking out and rashing, and we took him off the gluten and it like cleared up. And for me, it was just like this epiphany moment, which it seems so simple. And I think even more nowadays, it's more simple. But back then, that was like 12 years ago. It wasn't that common to think, well, what's causing it? Like, not just what do we put on it topically, but what's causing it? And it was an internal issue that was like, our skin is the largest organ. It's kind of like a alarm system. So if something changes out of the blue, I always think now, what's going on like internally? And then like, we can figure out what to use topically as well. So I just kind of dove into the natural living space and started learning things that I just did not know before becoming a mom.
Mm.
What we put on our skin can absorb into our bloodstream. I didn't know that. And so I wanted to be more careful of what I was putting on my skin. I didn't want harmful ingredients in my personal care, in my cleaning products, all of that. So I kind of made some switches and I decided, I don't like what I see. I'm used to this very result driven skincare. I worked in medical spas and like we want results like at any cost. And so I was like, I'm not happy with coconut oil was all the rage at this time. And people are like, just put coconut on your skin, coconut oil. And I'm like, that's not going to do it for me. Like, I want more result driven products. I just want it to be clean. And so that's when I started making my own products, and it just one thing led to another. And I started working with a natural chemist, and we created Simply Jess, and that's how it started.
Wow. I love that. That is very inspiring, when you recognize a need of your own, and especially as a mom, like that mama bear comes out in us, and we're like, okay, what can I do for my child? And I love that it turned into something that, a lot of women can now participate in and help their children with if they have skin issues. So, talk to me about, you know, obviously like I knew that skincare, just like nail care, right? The products used in our nails goes into our bloodstream, but it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And you get drawn into like the aesthetically pleasing bottles and like the nice photos of those results. And you kind of just forget about the fact that what it's actually doing to your skin. So let's peel back that layer and dive into like the do's and don'ts of the skincare and maybe some of the like common misconceptions that people also have with natural versus holistic.
Yeah. Well, when I think of holistic, I look at it like treating the whole body, right? So that's what holistic is, and not just one thing. So holistic skincare to me is like when I talk about, not only should we put topically hydrating things on our skin, we should also drink water. We should eat for skin health. So, and I've been talking about this for so long because that is treating the skin in a holistic way. When I had a friend come up to me and say, you know what? My daughter is having these issues with her skin. It's so bad and it's so out of the blue. My first response isn't, you need a cream or an exfoliator. It's, what does she have any food allergies? Like, is she doing something that could be affecting her gut? And then there's proof of that on her skin. So I feel like that is the way holistic skincare works. And it's hard because we have dermatology, and it's amazing, and it's there to help us with preventing skin cancer and treating skin cancer and other different modalities that are helpful for us. But a lot of times those doctors don't always think about that holistic piece,
Yeah.
which is a shame because really we're missing out on these people that come to them. They're like, wait a minute, like, this is helping maybe what you're giving me, but why am I having this issue? So that's more what I think of when I think of holistic. And natural to me just means, what are the ingredients? Are these clean ingredients? Are these ingredients that some would consider more harmful or long-term unsafe. So the quality of the ingredients, and we've come a long way in the natural skincare world as far as technology goes. So we can see great results. There's a lot of natural alternatives to different, products and ingredients that are maybe in not the natural space. So that's kind of how I differentiate the two.
Mm, thank you for clarifying that because I think it can get a little iffy sometimes and like figuring out, okay, is this actually natural?
Yes.
What's the difference, right? Um, and I love that you brought up the fact that it does come from a whole body standpoint, right? What goes in and what we consume does show up on our skin. And
Yes.
sometimes we forget about that. So, what would you say are some of the best ways that someone can heal skin issues from the inside out?
Yeah, I mean, one way so my son had this issue. So after having the gluten in his system for how, I don't even know, it was maybe 6 months. We didn't know that he had this allergy. He had a problem with his gut. And so the first place we started, and our doctor was, fortunately, we had a doctor who knew about this stuff because a lot of doctors don't, but he was like, you need to do something to help with this gut issue. And so we used foods that really helped heal that, bone broth, different things that were very healing to the gut. And it took like 6 months of a pretty it was hard. It was a strict protocol of, you know, taking some things out that are irritating. Obviously, the gluten had to go, and then what a difference we saw, and it took about 6 months. So it wasn't overnight, but there was a really quick difference once we took the food out with his skin. So that started to calm
Mm,
down. And then, sometimes what we do internally can have lasting effects, and we have to do something to heal them. It's not always fun, it's not always easy, but there are ways we can do it. And
yeah.
then, you'll see the difference in the skin.
Of course. And how old was your son at that time?
He was a baby. He was like
Oh,
1. Yeah, like
wow.
in between 1 and 2. So
Wow.
it was
That's
tough.
a hard age because you're also limited in what you can give them or like testing different things. My son's a year and a half, so I know I'm in it.
Yeah, they're picky. They're picky too, and they don't wanna eat what you give them, and, it's tough. It was tough, and, especially even for us, it's tough. Like, if we have to kinda do something that is like a gut healing protocol, it is not, I'm not gonna say it's hard, for sure,
Yeah.
but I do feel like there are some really great results you can see if you can be patient with it. And once you kind of, what happened with us, and this, everyone's different. But once we sort of healed that problem, we could, of course we could bring back other things, and he can live a normal life of a kid who they want to have what they want to have, and they should be able to have
Yeah.
the treats. I try not to have them all the time, but if I feel like with kids, it's so nice to be able to not make them feel like they're deprived, because then they'll just go out on their own and do whatever they want
Mhm.
later.
Exactly. Exactly. And that just makes you so much more determined as well to, want to heal him and then, of course, help others in the process. So I find that there's so many ways, like you were saying earlier, don't wait till the end of the day to start your routine. Like just do it now when you have the time, right? There have been habits that you've been able to stack as a way to kind of make sure that it's consistent and it keeps it fun and doesn't overwhelm you in your day.
Yeah, I tell people that are starting out with skincare that want to, like, be consistent, because there are times where people will buy the product and be like, "I haven't used it." And I'm like, "What? You've had it for like a month." So it's a new thing that you have to kind of implement. And if you want to see results, I always say you have to do it. Like, you can't just buy it and then not use it. So I like to, as far as like habit stacking, making sure that you take that time to wash your face at night, which I know it's so funny because there's a lot of people who are very into skincare that are like, of course I wash my face at night, but there's a lot of people who don't, and they're busy. And especially, the moms. I know this for the people that I know in my life, but going to take that time for yourself even if it means like excusing yourself from the family for a minute. And I believe that you can have great results with a very simple routine. So I can get in and out in like a minute. It's like wash your face, do your toner, either maybe a serum, maybe not, and then your moisturizer or oil. It's boom. Like just don't like draw it out. You can do it really, really quick. And then what happens a lot of times, what this just happened with a client of mine, she never washed her face at night and she just turned 40 and she was like, okay, I need to start doing something. And she started to do the skincare at night. And then it was like a week later, she's like, oh my gosh, I have found this to be the most amazing time for me. She's super busy. She has such a consuming job. And she's like, now I can go into my bathroom. It makes me feel better. I already see a result with my skin. It already feels so soft. Like she's so amped. So now she's like, she runs upstairs like to do her skincare routine. And she can do it because it's a quick routine. But I think once you start seeing results too, and a lot of skincare smells lovely. It's very like, it is such self-care, to give yourself that time. So trying to see a result is motivating. So, being consistent and, just think of it as just some time that you're going to have to do that one thing for yourself. It's not that much time, but it yields a nice result.
It does. I've noticed, so I've actually been very consistent with my skincare routine for the last several months now, maybe like 3, 4 months, very, very consistent. And I've noticed great results. My makeup goes on better.
Yes,
I have very dry skin
me
and a
too.
dry scalp. So I have to extra moisturize and extra hydrate. And then, of course, when I drink as much water as I can in the day or my electrolytes, that also helps a lot. Or if I sweat in the day when I exercise or work out, that helps a lot as well. But I love how you said it's that time in the day that you get to look forward to. And besides of the obvious results when you're consistent with something of what comes from it, I actually look forward to treating my skin and taking care of it before I, get into my pillow and
Mhm.
put on my comfy clothes. It really is that nice couple of minutes that I get to invest back into myself.
Yes, I love that. I'm dry. I have really dry skin as well. And there's this really good feeling that I get when I wake up in the morning and my skin looks so amazing because another reason why I kind of make it a point for people to wash their face at night is that our skin cells are regenerating 10 times faster at night. That is when our body repairs, including our skin. So when you're treating your skin at night, you're going to see even better results. So when you wake up in the morning, your skin looks glowy, it just looks more hydrated. And if you didn't have that, it's causing premature aging when you sleep in your makeup, things like that. So that like positive reinforcement of, oh, I woke up and like my skin looks nice. And it's, especially for people with dry skin, treating your skin at night is just such a nice way to have that hydration and wake up in the morning with it. So yeah, I agree with that.
Totally. So what are your thoughts to exposing your skin to the sun, which it can go both ways?
Yeah.
What are
Oh,
your thoughts?
it's changed over time. We in the skincare industry are taught literally never go into the sun, never go outside without sunscreen. It's like one of the things that I used to talk about all the time because that was what was drilled into our heads. And, now I know more about our circadian rhythm and I know more about light exposure. And so for me personally, I do like to go outside and take walks in the morning and I don't wear sunscreen. But I do it in a safe way. So I do it when the sun is not as I don't go out at noon on a summer day and like bake in the sun. I don't do that. But I do feel like it is beneficial to go out into the sun. Let your skin feel the sun, let your eyes see the sun. And there's a lot of research on this now that it's really beneficial for your health overall. So, um, I don't think it's bad. I think it can be even healing, but you have to be smart about it. And, there is the simple matter is that yes, too much sun exposure can cause cancer. So it's one of those. I would never take my kids to the beach and not put sunscreen on them if we were going to be there all day. I
Mm,
do I do it in a way that I feel is safe, and I use sunscreen that I feel is safe as well. So
mhm.
that's my thoughts on it, but it did not used to be like that at all.
Yeah, no, it's true. Stay away,
Yeah,
cover up, right? Loathe yourself in sunscreen.
yeah.
And I have that same perspective where I think the sun is healthy for you, especially the morning sun, where it's the
Mhm.
most radiant and you can receive the most from the sun, right? To enter your body and absorb it. So with that gimmick being sold to us, what are some of the other gimmicks that people just really easily fall for in skincare that might have evolved over time?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, and I kind of mentioned it in the beginning, but that you need 100 different things to see a result. You need 17 steps. No, you don't. And there you can see such a great result by keeping it simple and really focusing on what you need and not what the woman on Instagram is selling. So,
I love
making
that.
sure that you really, what do I really need? I what is my skin type and concern most going to benefit from? So I don't believe we need a million things. Um, Another thing is, I feel like the extra steps, we have our core skincare regimen, and I always start with that with especially new people. Get your basics, and then you can add on from there. If you're consistent and you're like, okay, great, I'm doing wonderful. Like, what else can I do? What else is going to give me results? There can be a couple other things that you do, but it can be simple as well. And I always recommend exfoliation, especially as we age, because our cells don't turn over as fast as they used to. So we kind of help that process. We slough off dead skin. What a result you can see when you do that regularly. And then also you take off the dead skin and your products can go deeper. They can work better. So that's one thing that I think is really important for people who are starting out, but not to get overwhelmed by thinking that you have to do all of the things, because you don't.
Yeah, that stands out to me personally because like you as a mom, it's so challenging to like yes, I have my routine and I'm consistent with it.
Mhm.
But to add all those extra steps adds more time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if we want to stay consistent, we have to keep it simple. Like
Yes.
something we can consistently do every day has to be simple enough. I don't have to think about it. It's just automatic now at this point. Um, and then every now and then kind of sprinkle on those extra things, right? Like that keeps it fun.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I think with the extra things too, I one thing that I love is like you can add a tool like a gua sha, like those. Have you seen those gua shas?
yeah.
Jade stones, like those. I have a client who literally wakes up every morning. She's a teacher, and she puts it on ice, and then she just holds it under her eyes before she puts her makeup on, and like there's so much less puffiness, and it's like those are things that maybe not everybody has, maybe wants to take the time to do, but that's like her little morning ritual, and she loves the way it makes her skin look. So it is fun, and it's nice, like when I have extra time or it's the weekend, I do take those extra steps. I mean, I love doing it. So I'll do my full on like at home facial routine, and I'll use a mask. I have an LED mask. I have a gua sha. So, but that's definitely not every day. Especially like so I'm dry like you. My dad lives in Arizona. So when I come back from Arizona, I'm like, okay, like I got to pull out all the stuff because my skin is so dry. So I'll do my exfoliation, my mask. I have a really great hyaluronic acid mask that I use, which is like really great for, plumping out the fine lines and everything like that. So I'll do that on like a day where we get back, we don't have any plans, and I'll just make it like a little self-care moment.
I love that. So, talk to me a bit about Simply Jess in the sense of the different product lines, and obviously we know where the inspiration came from, and where is it headed?
So my line is it's really great for sensitive skin. I wanted it to be natural, so it's very clean. Um, One of my top sellers is a toner. I was just talking with someone on another podcast about toners, and she was like, people think toners are bad for your skin. They're so confused, but it was one of the first products I came out with because I wanted something to help deliver the serums that are meant to go deeper into the skin. And when your skin is nice and damp, the products will work better. So when you're putting on, say an anti-aging serum or a vitamin C serum and your skin is dry, there's going to be a little bit of a barrier. So it's not going to work as well. Also, like people go out into the sun and maybe they get a little inflamed. It's really great post sun. It's great if you've been in the like the chlorine in the summer. So we always keep them with us. I had a dermatologist tell one of my clients that keep using my toner during class, a heavy like workout class, because there's a lot of sweat and there's redness from the workout. So she keeps it in her gym bag. I do too. But yeah, I try to keep it very simple, like I've talked about, because that's what I believe works. I have serums because I think they are going to make the biggest impact on the skin. So things like hydrating serums and vitamin C serums, helping with hyperpigmentation, and facial oils. So I don't use like a cream-based moisturizer. I like a facial oil. And mine is a medium, so it's good for dry skin, but even if you have like normal skin, you can also use it. So everything is just naturally fragrant, not artificially fragranced. And they smell really great. And yeah, it's very easy. It's very easy to figure out and to use.
You bring up a really good point with the fragrance because lately I've been U-hauling all of the candles, lotions, even toothpastes. I mean, everything that has like a certain fragrance to it, that is toxic and can disrupt your hormones and things like that. So, where does the fragrance come in into play with Simply Jess?
Yeah, so we use essential oils to fragrance the product. So we use things like frankincense, which is known for wrinkles. It's so great for that. It's so great for fine lines. One of my favorites, which is why I love this smell so much, is our Reboot oil has neroli, which is just like everyone, the first thing they say when they get the product is, I can't believe how much I love this smell. It's so good. It's like it's an uplifting essential oil. So it just makes you feel so good when you put the Reboot on your skin. And then like our toner is a lavender water base. So it smells like lavender, but it's all just, and it's not just, I didn't put lavender floral water in so it would smell good only. That alone is like, could be a toner. It's so beneficial, calming, hydrating, but then we add in antioxidants and other calming ingredients. So it just helps with the skin in more than one way. But yeah, it's all naturally fragranced. And I know what you mean about like the personal care and the home care products that we have. I bought a dishwasher soap and it was natural, quote unquote. And we my husband and I were using it and we're like, what is this smell? It was so powerful, and we're not used to like strong odors with our because we try to stay fragrance free as much as we can.
Uh-huh.
And I had to throw out my sponges. Like it was so potent. And I was like, wow, like this is not good for like my head. And like, it gave me a headache. And it just shows you like, yeah, you're right. There's really no laws about natural. Doesn't mean anything to the FDA. So when you see natural, it's really marketing, or like for me, I just have integrity with my line, so I would never use something on me that I don't want to use, and that's the promise that I made in the line. So it's clean, but there's just no real laws around that word. It's more
Hmm.
term at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I find it so important for us to have this conversation because we can so easily get sucked into the label or like, I don't know what all these ingredients are in the back, but whatever, it looks good. I'll try it.
I know, it's hard. It's really, as consumers, I know we're all tired. We're like, I wish we could just believe what we hear. And sadly, we have to be a little bit more diligent. If we, especially, like I said, I've had health issues in my past. My son had some issues. So we try to be as good as we can without crossing that line to like, I'm so stressed out because I need to be perfect and this is going to harm me and it's going to bring me cancer. Like that is going to bring me cancer too. So I try not to be a stress case. I do my best. It's not perfect. And I'm good with that.
Yeah. Well, I already know that I'm gonna love your line. I can't wait. I'm actually running low on a few things now at this point, so I can't wait to try a couple myself and the toner specifically because I actually I've never used toner.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so this conversation really inspired me about that and all of the essential oil-based fragrances that you have. And I love the story and how you're able to recognize that, with your son's eczema, it just gave you that awakening to, want to help more people and use the knowledge that you have of the skincare industry to make something that's clean, for other women to experience as well without the thinking involved.
Yes, I know. I know. I feel like that is takes a little bit of the stress away, but yes, thank you so much.
So a lot of our guests here, they get to share towards the end, right? With our show being how to elevate your life. I'd love to hear, what does elevating your life mean to you?
I think for me, elevating my life means to continually learn and grow. And that's something that it's the name of my podcast actually is it's learning to glow, but really it is an opportunity for me to never stop learning and finding ways in which I can grow as a person because that is what makes it better.
I love that. Jessica, what is some of the ways our listeners can begin to follow you, and your journey? You also have a podcast. I love for them to take a look at that, and we're going to add that in the show notes for everyone to tap into. But what are some of the ways that they can follow you and start to find Simply Just products?
Yes, thank you. My website is simplyjessskincare.com. So I have everything there. All my products. I'm on Instagram at the same name, Simply Jess Skincare. I love when people reach out, send me a DM. I'm definitely like open to helping people with their skin. It's definitely a passion of mine. So sometimes people just reach out and say like, I have this issue. Like, do you have any suggestions? It could have nothing to do with my line. And then if you are interested in wellness at all and skincare, like check out my podcast, Learning to Glow. It's everywhere podcasts are available. It's also, there's a link on my website as well.
I
And I'd love
love
to offer your listeners a discount. If they would, if there's something that they're interested in trying, we'll create a code and their first order will be 20% off.
That is amazing. We'll make sure that's included in the show notes below. And last but not least, you guys, we love to hear what your favorite takeaway was from our conversation here today. What new skincare routine are you going to be trying? What stood out to you? Was it making things less complicated and more simple? Was it being more educated on a particular product line? We're curious. We love for you guys to tag us on social and let us know, and then we can dive into that conversation with you guys. So, Jess, thank you so much for sharing all of your nuggets and knowledge with us.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
If you're ready to up your skincare game, head to simplyjessskincare.com and use code ELEVATE for 20% off your order. I cannot wait to get my hands on some of her products as I'm currently running out and feel really equipped now on what I can do to elevate my skincare game. Use code ELEVATE for 20% off at checkout, and I'll see you here next week for another episode on how to elevate your life.